G'day guys. How much choline do we need? So is a carnivore diet sufficient in choline? Are we getting enough? These are the sort of questions people keep on asking me. So I thought I might as well cover it a bit comprehensively this time. So let me just share my screen. Okay, so top 10 foods highest in choline. So they're looking at 6 ounces of these animal foods. So we're looking at 6 ounces of these animal foods. Which is 170 grams. You're basically getting these percentages. So chicken, 36% from the breast, salmon, 35%, and that's out of 550 milligrams, which is the RDI, recommended daily intake. So that's nearly 200 milligrams, slightly less than 200 milligrams, about 150, 28%, that's pork. And one egg's got quite a lot, as you can see, 146.9 milligrams, quite a dose. So if you were to get 1.46.9 times 4 eggs, 4 eggs would give you your entire daily intake. That's it. You just have 4 eggs, you're covered for the entire day in terms of choline based on the RDI. So you're already seeing the picture. So let's say we're going for beef. Most people would eat beef, even though for me, as you guys know, lamb and pork are my favorites. But most people in the carnivore community tend to go for beef. So we'll go for 100, so 550 divide by 132.3. You're looking at 400 times 100, 400 and nearly 416 grams. And divide that by 28. It's 14.7 ounces. So slightly less than a pound. Okay. So for slightly less than a pound or 14.7 ounces or 416 grams, you're getting your RDI. Okay. For an adult, 550 milligrams. Got it? So it's pretty easy. One nice juicy steak will give you all that. You add 4 eggs, you're up to basically 200% of the RDI. You're basically about 1.1 grams. You're done. You know, do I need to supplement a gram of choline supplementation every day? No, obviously. You know, 1 steak and 4 eggs, and you pretty much got the gram. So even for issues where obviously you hear me sometimes recommending to certain people choline. Why? There's reasons for it. My reasons are that some people require additional because they may have fatty liver and we need to export fat out of the liver and do it and sort it out much faster. They may have xenoestrogens, a lot of chemical exposure. You work in a factory or an environment where you're exposed to more chemicals. Xenoestrogens increase in your body. You know, we need to basically methylate away those excess xenoestrogens. Got it? So there are reasons specifically for recommending certain things because these people are working in a non-ancestral environment. They're working in a modern environment. We're exposed to a lot of things in our environment. So, you know, our food supply is a bit different. You know, people keep on asking me, why do you recommend taurine? Generally speaking, for the carnivore diet, I don't recommend any supplementation for anyone. If you can, the only proviso, the only exception to that is freshly slaughtered meat for taurine. Just because the problem is if you hang up meat for too long, for months before, in refrigerators, and then ship it out to supermarkets after you've cut it all up, you're losing a lot of fluids and you end up losing a lot of taurine. That's the problem, you know. So, but if you're getting it freshly slaughtered and all that, less of an issue, you know. So there's a lot of reasons for those things. So that's probably the only thing that probably people need to consider supplementing a bit. And then there are other reasons for that as well. People may have a deranged, may have just come off a veganurized diet. They're coming into a carnivore diet. They've still got a lot of derangements with their digestive system. It's, out of kilter. They've got problems with their gallbladder, low stomach. They can't, they have low stomach acid, so they can't digest things properly. All these other factors, and those people may need a bit of support for a period of time to basically get them over that hurdle so they can transition much smoother and quicker onto a species appropriate diet and adjust a bit faster. These are the reasons. So, but for a general person, somebody young, healthy and all that, do they really need choline or even taurine for that matter? Probably not, probably the only thing that I would ever supplement in an older age, in particular after 50, would be taurine, because basically, your levels decline, your internal biosynthesis. So, and the food supply is problematic, as I've pointed out. Supermarket slaughtering methods, supermarket, sourced meats are problematic. And these are the sort of reasons why. But outside that, getting back to the choline thing, can we get enough? Bloody hell we can. Not an issue. As you can see, very easy to get. So one big juicy steak, you'll get your RDI, basically. Throw in 4 eggs in that. You got a gram, you're good to go. So even if you need to methylate some xenoestrogens in the environment, chemicals, because we're in homes, we've got furniture that are gassing out things that basically do increase xenoestrogens in our body. So we're not living ancestrally, we've got issues. So there may be a bigger requirement for it. Obviously, I wouldn't get too concerned. And the reason for that is because we can synthesize it from other things. Okay, so anyway, find, yep, just need to find the location. This is a 36 page out of a specific medical book on vitamins and many other things. Anyway, so I'll go down to this part. See, they add choline generally to the diet to reduce the need to activate methyl groups supplied by methionine. It is more economical to add choline for these methyl groups than to add methionine. So if you're lowering methionine, adding choline can add, because that second pathway, choline betaine. Anyway, choline is one of the precursors of acetylcholine, neurotransmitter. Choline is also a component of sphingomyelin, obviously. Another, myelination. You understand what I mean. Lecithin. Formation of betaine from choline provides important source of libel, which is something that can change, something that can sort of alter, increase. Methyl groups for transmethylation reactions. Choline can also be synthesized de novo inside the body. Got it? From ethylamine when methionine. So this is the enzymatic pathway. hate when it does that. Ethyloamine when methionine, or basically think cysteine, demethylcysteine, or betaine, which comes from choline. So you can go back and actually, if there's an adequate amount, it can actually generate a supply of choline. The most abundant source of choline in the diet is lecithin. The primary sign of choline deficiency is fatty liver, something that I've talked about for a very long time. That was my first methylation video covering that. So in monkeys, dogs, cats, and rats, it has also been shown that prolonged choline deficiency results in cirrhosis of the liver. In mice and rats, prolonged deficiency ultimately results, in hepatocellular cancer, which is cancer of the liver. Unique example of nutrition deficiency resulting in neoplasma. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all this additional stuff. That's for another video. So basically, as you can see, you got enough methionine in there. Keep that in mind. Enough methionine, you can produce. Okay, and enough cysteine, you can basically produce enough choline. That's through this enzymatic pathway. Got it? Now, this enzymatic pathway plays another role. Biosynthesis of choline from serine and related compounds. Again, reaction of this ethanolamine and methyl groups of choline are synthesized from serine and glycine. Got it? So let's look at a piece of steak. Okay, here's a steak, 100 grams of steak. So 3.53 ounces. And we'll go down here and we'll go down to the aminos. So you're getting about from 16 pounds, 16 ounces, which is 1 pound, times, so most carnivores will consume that easily in a day, if not more. So that's 453 grams, more or less, to divide that by 100. Now, there you go. That's 100. So 124 for methionine. That's percentages. That's for 100. We have to times it by this amount, times 124. So you're nearly getting up to 600% of methionine by that big steak. You think you're not going to have enough methionine to convert into choline if you need to? I think you'll have enough. More than enough. Let's look at the other thing. Cysteine, 120. 544%. Well over fivefold. Got it? Not going to be a problem there either. You can do that as well. And serine, plenty, even more than methionine. Oops, that's just even more than methionine. It's even with so little, you can still, just 100 grams, 3.8, you can get shitloads of leucine, over 100%. Most things, this is the fantastic tryptophan. Everybody concerns about tryptophan and not getting enough. Only 100 grams, you get more than enough. Everybody concerns about that. Do you need carbs for tryptophan? No. You're getting about 6 times. Get over it. Serine. I thought I might cover that little point. Oh, just for my repeat friends. So 1,394. You're looking at well over basically, 6 grams. And I would say, again, for the glycine, very similar. As you can see, just from a steak, one single steak, you're getting so many of the precursors in percentage points many times over. So there's redundancy there. You're getting at the picture. There's quite a lot of redundancy there in terms of all this sort of stuff. And for those who want to do a bit of biochemistry and look at the choline, methionine and folate metabolism interactions that are taking place, these methyl donors and the way they can go all the way around and around and actually just donate to different things. I'll add that as well as a bonus for those who want to geek out on a bit of biochemistry. But as you can see, pretty much this research is quite clear. This is the enzymatic pathway. That is the meat source. I'll add that as well so people can go through and look at the different, pick things like dairy and eggs. Obviously, the eggs are going to really dominate, but you can actually see the difference. If you're just having yolks are very high in choline compared to the whole egg. As you can see, 100 grams is 100 grams, 3.53. Look how much you're getting there, 149%. So, it's plenty of it. Fried eggs tend to actually have far more than raw eggs or boiled eggs or omelets, slightly less, stuff like that. So you can see the very differences in that regard. Scrambled cheeses, everybody has a bit of some cheese. Obviously, these are commercial cheeses. They're going to have much less in that regard. Cream will have less as well, but still has about 5% for 100. So if you're having, 2 coffees a day, 50 mils per, you're going to end up with 5% as well from there. Milk here, 16 ounce, you're getting 80 milligrams, 15%. As you can see on a carnivore diet, it's pretty hard not to hit the RDI. Even a vegetarian could basically prioritize some eggs and a bit of dairy and pretty much make the RDI very easily as well. The vegans would struggle a bit in that regard. And obviously people that are avoiding these animal foods altogether, like even people on a mixed diet, on a standard diet, have been so brainwashed that they basically avoid these foods. So that's basically the facts. You have all the actual precursors. You get plenty of methionine, you get plenty of cysteine, you're getting plenty of those nutrients that can basically support that. Now, you're going to say, well, Harry, don't you recommend supplementation to some people? Yes, I do. And there are reasons for that. People may have underlying fatty liver and they need to basically reduce their fatty liver. That's one group of people, so that will be a much shorter period of time. It could be for 3 months, 6 months, depending on how much, combination with higher doses of taurine to break down the fibrotic tissue, blah, blah, blah. Depends on your circumstances. Somebody transitioning, relatively young, healthy and all that, do they need to supplement? No. Now, there are some people that have got genetics where they can't do the conversion from methionine to choline. Remember, I've talked about it, methionine, choline, folate. They just can't do it. I'm one of those people. Very rare, but we do exist, okay? And so we need to get in the diet because we can't make some of these conversions. I know. It's tough, but it's a reality that some people, maybe because my ancestors got quite a bit out of liver and other things, that the body down-regulated a bit like the beta-carotene thing. Same sort of issue. But that's a very small minority. I do also have the MTHFR, which compounds the issue. So I do have the primary one that is affecting the folate B12 pathway, and that can be rectified with riboflavin. I've done a video on that, the methylation one. I'll stick it somewhere there, and which will cover those sort of points. There are other circumstances, beyond the genetics, where people may have neurological disorders and other things like that, and they may need some additional choline for those purposes. The big one is obviously xenoestrogens, methylating them away and stuff like that. But there can be other things where we can help people transition a bit faster and resolve a number of issues, and then, do it for a couple of months, drop off, and continue just on a standard diet, on a standard carnivore diet, and you're fine, you're good to go. But because we're getting enough in terms of methylating, even the stuff, around the furniture, stuff like that. But you may have some underlying issues. You may have some underlying issues with, a number of your different organs. You've come off a inappropriate species, inappropriate diet, and still are transitioning. So people will come to me, they'll tell me their circumstances, and I will recommend different sort of things. Majority people in a healthy state and all that don't, are not exposed to high levels of xenoestrogens, like in the chemical industry or stuff like that, are not exposed, do not have certain genetics and stuff like that, and like even sometimes I've got choline supplementation. Sometimes when I get sick and tired of having eggs, I do shift to the choline supplementation. But generally speaking, I try to get as much out of the diet, so I only have to use a gram. That's why my choline supplementation lasts for ages. Now, do you really have to worry? Because I know some of you guys out there are trying to basically beef up and eating more animal protein to beef up and drive that muscle protein synthesis a bit higher. Should you be concerned? Not really. Let's take a look. The amount. I'll just actually, in terms of what sort of levels, and I'll just share the screen again for a short period of time. Okay, so there's one egg, just 146.9. Remember that geezer that was eating 25 eggs on average per day? Remember that guy? Times 25 eggs per day. It's nearly 4 grams. Got it, guys? Nearly 4 grams, that guy was getting 3.7 on average. Some days was eating up to not 24 eggs, but up to 30 eggs. So most of the days was eating 24 eggs and getting about 3.5 grams. And on occasion was having up to 30 eggs, which was getting 4.4 grams, probably even more, because eating some other foods as well, which would have had a bit of choline, probably 4.5. So as you can see, that person was outlived his parents, was very healthy, didn't have fatty liver or any of these sort of ailments, because they did analyze him and check him, his heart and different organs and stuff like that. Very good condition. 88 years old, and had been doing it over multiple decades, consuming. He had an addiction to eggs. Yeah, I know. Some people have addiction to inappropriate things with naked women, and other people have addictions to other things, cigarettes, tobacco, drinking, whatever. He had an addiction to eggs, But as a case study, he's an interesting case study because, most people will tell you one egg will knock you off your perch. He outlived his both parents. And he was in the nursing home, and the staff actually told the doctor exactly what they delivered every single day. So there was no ambiguity there. You didn't need a control. You didn't need a sort of are we doing a questionnaire? This is not a questionnaire. This is the actual staff reporting. They gave him 25 to 30 eggs every day, and he just munched on them throughout the whole day. as I said, everybody's got their own addiction. But as a case study, it's a very interesting case study, and it's actually enlightening us. So what are the levels? Some people do 5 grams. Do you need to do that high? I'd put a question mark on that. So some people will say, well, since we can tolerate quite a bit and there seem to be health benefits, why not supplement on a permanent basis? I'll leave that up to you. It's not for me to recommend anything or not, just to show you the facts, just to give you the information. What you do with that information is up to you. It's your business, your life, your body, the way it goes. All I'm basically doing is delivering the research, the science, that do you need to basically get supplemental? Most people, no, unless it's specific circumstances that we're dealing with. Can you tolerate, quite high levels, up to 5 grams and all that? So you get a couple of grams, 2 or 3 grams, 2 grams, 1 to 2 grams from the food, depending on the consumption. Some people may have multiple eggs, and then taking a couple of grams of up to potentially 5 grams. Is that going to cause you issue? Well, it didn't cause this person over multiple decades and outlived both his parents. So I think we're pretty safe even in these much higher levels. But as I said, carnivores get more than enough, only for specific ailments and conditions that you may require. You've got the information. People can do genetic tests and find out whether they have any of these genes. And they can also customize. I'll put the links for all this sort of stuff. You can customize your diet to optimize your intake. It's up to you how you do it. But do you need to spend money and waste money on supplementing choline? The majority of people probably no. But as I said, I'll leave that decision up to you. Anyway, so that's the choline story, and pretty much the issue that I was asked by one of my subs: do I need to supplement on a carnivore diet? And the answer is no. With the proviso that there may be certain conditions that you've come from a non-ancestral diet and you may want to mitigate or smooth the transition by eliminating the fatty liver faster, together with, obviously, if you're doing that, you're going to have some fibrosis together with taurine to break down the fibrosis, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So, but most people who are young and healthy, probably not. Eat a couple of extra eggs, you'll be fine. If you get sick and tired of them, maybe yes. If you're working in sort of a chemical environment, a heavy chemical environment, like an industry you're going to be exposed to far more xenoestrogens, probably a good thing. And probably, I would say, even more than a supplement, getting a few extra eggs would be a good idea, because you're going to get additional selenium, and selenium is selenide, can produce selenide, which basically is a chelator of heavy metals. So it can be an important element to add into your diet. Now, obviously, there are going to be some people that may have sensitivity to eggs. Obviously, I actually showed you there's far more choline in the yolks, and you can go that pathway and add more yolks and get your additional choline that way. Or you can basically, just add a few yolks plus a steak, and most people will be fine at that level. So that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed it. See yous.